You do realize we have the governor's dinner in an hour, don't you?
Yeah. First rule, don't eat those things. What if it's gross? You're talking, you're munching, right? What if you laugh and spray food all over the deputy lieutenant? Not me. Besides, you're good. Try one.
I'm good.
You're good now. But maybe get into the shrimp cocktail. 30 minutes goes by. You're sweating. Gut feels like it's gonna bust. You wanna throw up all over the governor? I don't. They're dope as hell. Try one. Come on, trust me.
Not bad.
I told you. What's up?
What do you know about the governor?
You mean like opposition research from the last election?
Well, like maybe exactly that.
Basically, Marge McCaffrey's boring as fuck. Not a speck of dirt or personality. She's like a nun with a machine gun. Played the game perfectly for decades. She's not gonna drop a stitch now.
Well, everyone's got something to hide.
That's why I'm gonna get the lieutenant governor ripped and find out what it is.
What, and you think he'll give you, a total stranger, his secrets, do you?
I just got you to eat street meat. What do you think's in that thing? You got any tips?
Excuse me?
I'm sure you run some interrogation skills up at, Herefordshire.
I'm sorry, where?
Come on, you're a squatty, right? I mean, Special Air Service for Her Majesty, Special Ops. Don't look so shocked. I get intel too.
How are you right now?
No, I'm not high right now.
Hey, panelers, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And this is going to be a spoiler-full podcast about Daredevil Born Again Season 2, found on Disney+. Obviously, we kind of skipped a week, so we said we're going to do 2 and 3, so now we're doing 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, a little extra, little bonus content for you to help us keep caught up here.
Yeah.
So,
but with that, we're going to probably do 5 and 6 another week and a half later from this, so keep that in mind. So if we'll put out the feelers of, hey, we're covering these 2 episodes, so if you have any thoughts, put them in the comments when we put out the promotion for it, and be greatly appreciated. But for now, right now, with this particular episode of the podcast, we're covering episodes 2, 3, and 4. We'll probably breeze through them. It won't really take too long because they kind of float into one another.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in all of them, but it's stuff we can talk about. And I have listened to a couple of their podcasts. The TV podcast series guys did a great job of covering these episodes as well. So
sure.
Yeah. So, but I look forward to talking about these.
Yep. All right. So we're doing episode 2, which is called Shoot the Moon, and then episode 3, The Scales and the Sword, and episode 4, which is Gloves Off. So go to them individually, Steve. We'll go through Shoot the Moon first, because that was the longest in my opinion, of story, plot, characters, everything. And then the other 2 episodes after, they kind of floated into each other. So we'll start off with Shoot the Moon and then slide right into Scales and the Sword and Gloves Off. How's that?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good. So the synopsis for these episodes are they're all very short and sweet synopsis. So it's easy. For Shoot the Moon, we just have, they're 1 sentence each. So it's easy.
Yeah.
Fisk tries a new tactic to lure Daredevil out of hiding, and we'll talk about what that tactic is. Season 2, episode 3, The Scales and the Sword. Matt Murdock and Karen Page find new allies. And then, of course, episode 4 that just came out this week, Gloves Off. Bullseye adopts a new morning routine, and Fisk takes the ring. So, yeah, we have a lot to talk about with these episodes, but we can go through them, fairly quickly. I think, but I in general, I'm enjoying the season for sure.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed that we haven't got Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones yet.
Yeah.
And we're halfway through the season. Hopefully we'll get her in the next episode, or at least I don't know, in the last I don't know. I'm hoping we get her pretty soon because I like that character, and I hope we can get see her sooner rather than later.
I think we're guaranteed her for like at least a couple of episodes at least.
Yeah, I kind of was nosing around IMDb, and she is credited, I think, for 5 and 6. I don't know about 7 and 8. I didn't look that far.
And there was like rumors and everything else with Mike Coulter about Luke Cage and the guy who played Danny Rand. So they're like trying to imply that we're getting more of a Defenders thing coming back eventually. But I'm still looking forward to getting our own Punisher himself, Mr. John Bernthal, too.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get him in this season. I was looking for spoilers on that, and he might show up, but I honestly, as I was digging around IMDb, I did not see a credit for him for this season. So we may not get him until One Last Kill?
I think so. Yeah.
At the end of the season, that's
a little spotlight movie, everybody, that Disney Plus likes to do. So we're probably going to get that because that's going to be the movie before we get Spider-Man Brand New Day. So, and we know that Frank Castle's in there because if you guys haven't watched the trailer, come on, he's in there.
It's wild. But yeah, so that's my only point I'll say of disappointment is I wish we'd gotten more of Kristen Ritter, but hey, you know, you can't get everything you want. So, but I think they've outdone themselves this season with the fight scenes are more elaborate.
It's taking us back to Netflix.
Yeah. They're doing a lot of these spin takes where I don't know if it's a one take or a one shot, scene. They do a lot of that spin where they spin the camera around.
Yep. A lot of heavy handedness too in the scenes, the fight scenes. That's what I liked about it. More action, more visceral, especially with, we said it's spoiler full. We got a lot more of Bullseye within these 3 episodes. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah. And then on top of that, we got a lot of F-bombs and more mature for the audiences.
Is definitely a mature or TV, whatever, a TVMA show. Disney is not pulling any punches with it, with the cursing and the blood and the violence. I'm not surprised. I'm glad they're doing it, but at the same time,
embracing it seems.
Yeah. So it's really cool.
All right, cool. So the episode, we're covering right now for episode 2, from my first impression, because where we took off from the first one, because we took a nice little time talking about that one. But with this one, it really deep rooted into what was going on within Matt's world, as well as Fisk. We do get to see not Eugene. I keep saying Eugene, but it's Benjamin Poindexter, Bullseye in the church after we see Matt watch Cherry being wheeled out with the ambulance for the last episode, the first one, and him seeking Sister Maggie and seeking absolution and, because he betrayed people and himself. I thought, wow, okay, something's going on with Poindexter. So he's trying to, I don't want to say he's trying to be the good guy. Maybe he's trying to make a more Frank Castle type of approach. I don't know. We'll talk more about that because we get more of his character development in the Gloves Off episode, particularly. But I think it's good that we see. Yeah, it's good that we're seeing Bullseye and we're getting more into his character because we got a lot of him in the first season, but we didn't get a lot of questions answered in the first season. So I'm really it's really great to see more of Wilson Bethel, the actor who portrays him. I've said it before. I loved him. He had a recurring role on Criminal Minds. That was really good, and just everything we've seen him in has been great. It seems like they're really branching out with these characters. I always said it, the street level characters of Marvel were always great. The idea of Fisk always still being involved, not only within Daredevil, but also with Spider-Man. I'm hoping that will branch out into the cinematic universe, because I would love to see D'Onofrio involved, and same thing with Charlie Cox. We already got Frank Castle in there, so we got Bernthal and already involved. If we get more Jessica Jones, that would be great too, because a little tidbit and note and side note, not to digress everybody, but on her Instagram, she posted that she kept the original leather jacket from the original Jessica Jones series. And the new prop person for the show created it based upon that jacket. So basically, she owns the original jacket. She goes, I permanently borrowed it. And then the other person literally recreated it for the show. So I guess Kristen's going to be utilizing this jacket now, her leather jacket that is pretty much synonymous to the character herself.
Yeah.
So we're going to get that back again. So I'm looking forward more to, like what Steve was saying, more Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
But we're getting more of that feel of the old school Netflix feel. And there was an interview with Charlie Cox as well as Vincent D'Onofrio saying how they were very much involved with the character development and everything else, just like they were with Netflix. So I'm glad that the actors are involved with the character and taking devotion into those characters.
Yeah.
And with that, we got something that got answered within this particular episode, Steve, that you questioned last episode of the podcast about Fisk. Fisk's advisor telling Fisk to tell the world that Matt Murdock and Daredevil are one and the same.
Yeah. Buck, he has this discussion with Buck where Buck says, well, why don't you just tell the world that because we wondered if Buck knew the secret, and obviously Kingpin has shared that with Buck, but Kingpin is he doesn't want to do that. And I'm not sure why. They don't really explain why. So he ends up doing the almost kind of the opposite. He kind of comes out and he says, hey, Matt Murdock is a hero and he's missing. And so we have countless people asking, like Christian Duffy in it's either this episode or the next episode. There's several people that are just like, well, did Frank Castle or Daredevil kill Matt Murdock? And then I have that line. The only quote I have from the episode is the one where Pal says, I'll put Matt Murdock in this office and I'll put Daredevil's head on a spike. And Kingpin kind of smiles at that and goes, well, either one would be fine, because Kingpin knows they're the same person. So I thought that was interesting. That was an interesting tactic for him to take, because even Karen Page says it. Now both sides are looking for you, both the people that love Kingpin and those that hate him. Are looking for the different aspects, the dual aspects of you. And of course, the anti-vigilante task force, they don't like either one of them, because Matt Murdock was against them as a lawyer, and then Daredevil, of course, is against them as a superhero. So it's interesting to see how this is progressing through the season. So especially everybody, all the like in the last episode, all the task force people that find out that Matt Murdock is Daredevil end up getting killed.
Yeah, they do.
So,
Which is funny too, because within the comics, not to segue into the comics, but in the comics, Fisk does find out that Matt Murdock is Daredevil. And in the same format in the comics, they do this within the show, which I really do like. I think it was a Frank Miller run where they actually had that involved. So
that would be cool. Yeah.
And for those of you comic book fans, Frank Miller actually has a book coming out. He's been doing book signings. So if you get a chance to meet him and do that on his tour, do so. Go grab one. I pre-ordered mine, unfortunately, because I couldn't make it to Barnes and Noble in Manhattan. But he's doing a hotel all of his writings and everything else, and that could go all the way down to the Dark Knight series originally. And enough about comic talk, but back to the show, and Fisk telling the world in an expose telling that Matt is alive. And
no, he doesn't say it. He doesn't know Matt's alive. He says Matt is missing. He says he might be alive, he might be dead. He says we don't know. He's out there. We need to find him because he's a hero. So yeah,
and he has a hotline.
Yeah, and he's got the city mobilized to find Matt Murdock, and he's got the task force mobilized to find Daredevil, and so yeah, it's a pretty cool little thing.
555 Murdock.
Yeah. Is that what it was? I didn't pause. I did. That's kind of cool. Yeah. So let's talk about Daniel Blake.
Oh, Mr. Blake himself
for a second here.
Mr. Michael Gandolfini.
Yeah, we're gonna get some more of him in the next couple episodes, but I really liked the scene between him and BB where he cooks her the French food.
Yeah.
I did note one thing though, when Fisk comes to his office, and I didn't notice in the next 2 episodes whether this has been fixed or not, but he had a Post-it note on his door with his name and his title of deputy mayor, because he doesn't have a nameplate on his door yet. I thought that was an interesting point. And when we transition from the episode 2 to episode 3, we're going to see that he goes from having, and maybe it is fixed by then, but just you don't see it in 3. But like in episode 2, when Fisk is visiting him, he doesn't really have. His office isn't furnished yet. He doesn't have anything on the walls. He doesn't really have anything cool there. And then in the next episode, we're going to see that his office is now decorated and he actually has an office. And so I like the interaction between him and BB, where he basically tells her that I know you're the one who's leaking information, but I don't want to get you in trouble. I don't want to get you killed, and this is going to carry on through the next 2 episodes also.
Yeah, it literally is like, it was his nice way of saying, he goes, you've done a lot for me. You cleaned up my place. Basically, she looked out for him at one point, but still playing the double agent. And she kind of acknowledges it to some degree, but she doesn't out herself in any way. He kind of points it out that, it was from within the building, possibly from his laptop. Mind you, he was already talked about this by Fisk and somebody else. I think it was Buck.
Sheila. No, it was Sheila. Sheila asked him.
Okay.
Sheila, and that's when he deletes it off his laptop. Is when she asked him, "Did you have this footage on your laptop?" And he's like, "No, of course I didn't have it on my laptop." So yeah.
So apparently he knew. It's like, okay, it's got to be because BB is involved with the media. Obviously, we know this.
I didn't figure it out in the first episode, but now I think I said something in our coverage of the first episode is how do they not know that she's the City Without Fear website person? But I guess what I realized in this episode, because she says, when he brings he sees it's a working dinner, she says, well, I thought we were going to edit the latest BB video together. And so I think what she is she, on one, like you said, she's kind of a dual agent, because on one side of it, she's the propaganda person for the mayor, releasing all these great reports about how everybody loves the city and everybody loves the task force and all this. And then at the same time, she's also doing these underground mayor kingpin with the mask on. Stuff, So yeah. That's great.
Yeah. And then we get AVTF head Powell, and we know him as Powell. And he's in charge of the AVTF. He's like the head of the guys that are in charge. Him talking to Fisk about getting Bullseye with Fisk's request. Then one of the other AVTF guys that are out there, who is Cole North, played by Jeremy Isaiah Earl, he got burned during that attack with Cherry and with Matt there that night. He's all burnt, but he's still healing, but he wants to come back to work. He needs that paycheck. He needs to come back. And Powell says that the group stating that the title of the episode, like, he puts it out there, mic drop, as you would call it. What was the episode titled?
Does he say shoot the moon? I don't think he
does say shoot.
Okay, I didn't catch that. I know he said something similar to it, but I didn't realize he actually said
regarding
those
what they're
words,
doing. So it's like, we're going to shoot the moon, blah blah blah. And I thought that was pretty cool. And it's a mic drop. I thought you would pick that up.
I didn't. I was listening for it too, and I missed it completely. So I apologize. That's a good catch. Yeah, and I thought we get the scene of the task force arresting, Soledad, who is Angela's aunt. She goes to that bodega to get
with the
get
kids
a
who is
snack.
stealing.
Yeah, they're stealing and I was a little confused because the kid who was stealing the beer
Mm-hmm.
resembles Roberto, the guy who's helping Angela. Angela has the same kind of afro
Later
looking
on,
hair.
from
And so when they go outside of the bodega, and I still was confused the second time I watched it, because the kid that steals the beer, he's got the beer, he drops it, it breaks, the owner's holding the shotgun on him, ABTF comes in, they beat up the shop owner because he was taking his own doing his own vigilante justice thing, whatever, but they tripped the kid who was stealing the beer. And then that's where I couldn't tell if that kid is the same kid that's helping her out, or if he got arrested, or what. It was very unclear, because it looked, the kid who was outside the bodega suddenly looks like the same kid who was inside the bodega. So I don't know, maybe he got away in all the scuffle with Soledad grabbing the one guy's arm, and that's where we know this kid from. I'd have to watch the episode again to be for sure that he's the same.
It gave me that same vibe too when I watched it. Obviously, we said spoilers. Steve's referencing something we see later on by
because we're gonna see. Yeah, it's in Gloves Off. We'll see the kid come back.
Yeah,
come back again. And that's what I'm saying is I'm not sure if it's supposed to be the same kid who was stealing the beer, or if it's just another actor who resembles that same.
Yeah, it's kind of hard,
character, because you only get a brief look at him.
Yeah,
so I wasn't 100% sure about that, but yeah, it's interesting. It's a great scene when she gets taken off, because obviously it's going to lead us right into the next episode, the next couple episodes with that group that gets arrested. So go ahead. Before we move on, I don't want to miss that wonderful scene at the end that is shot and edited so well, between where you have Vanessa when she has the bad dream and she wakes up, and she and Fisk are talking in bed, and at the same time you have Karen and Matt talking in their bed, and the scene is edited so well, going back
intertwined
and forth between,
that
I thought it was just a beautifully shot and beautifully acted scene for those four actors to be working that way, to where it's almost like they're in a scene together, but they're not,
But
and so
they're also
really
kind of like having a conversation very similar to one another,
right.
The situation. Also, I like the fact that it's like the first thing I thought when Vanessa was talking about that with Fisk and getting herself a gun, I'm like, the first thing I thought is like, this is foreshadowing for something.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is not going to end well in some way. We've seen it in the comics before. We've seen it in the Netflix series when we got Elektra. Because even with Elektra, we had some issues back then too. Everybody, I know it's not canon to Disney, even though they say it floats in and out because it's the same universe.
Right.
But the thing was, it's like, I'm looking, going, I'm seeing clues.
Yeah.
And that's just me as an avid viewer. This is not me dissecting it like I always do.
Right. Yeah, the only last thing I have from this episode is that the attack by the task force on Josie's bar at the end, when that scene that we were just talking about gets broken up. Matt changed clothes really fast. like it only took him seconds to get into his Daredevil
gear.
Yeah, and I'm just like going, is he got a speed changing room or something?
Is it like the Flash? Does he have a ring?
Yeah, I'm just like, it was crazy, because it's still, the song is still going, on the record player. And this is I don't want to say my only criticism, but this is one criticism I will have of the way this episode ended is every other time we've seen the task force specifically go after Daredevil, they have a huge contingent. Okay. And this time there's only like what, 5 guys?
It was like maybe between 5 to 7 guys total.
That's it. That's all that came to the apartment, to the building, because he gets down on the street and beats up 2 or 3 of them pretty quick. And then beats up a couple inside the apartment, and then Karen beats up one
and captures one.
And captures one. And that's how we end the episode, is with her. Oh, well, now we're hunting them. And I'm just like, wow, you've leveled up, Karen. Like, I understand she's been training with Matt for months and learning how to, and maybe the guy went a little easy. That's in the next episode that we find out that he really wants to give them information. That flows right into the next episode. But that's all I had for episode 2.
The one thing I did like, there was one scene with Poindexter coming out of the elevator during that time.
I forgot to, I totally forgot to mention that the old cops protecting Cherry, and we haven't seen them come back yet. Nope. So that's got to be something we're going to see.
That was an intense scene for just this episode alone. I thought that was pretty creative and good.
Very usual suspects, like with him coming down out of the ceiling and shooting the 2 guys in the head. You know, very, very much like that usual suspects scene with Stephen Baldwin. So,
and then we got Angela talking to her mother about her uncle Hector, and putting in. Angela's not happy about Hector putting on the white tiger mask, the necklace, and everything else. We do see her looking at it, and it kind of alludes to, there's a lot of foreshadowing.
Again, it's a lot of foreshadowing here of Angela seeing the pendant and the costume.
And it's somebody that's in line, possibly. At
Kirsten's office.
I like that. And then we get a whole bunch of things in between. We kind of glossed over it, which is fine because it kind of moves on, and just like, like Steve had said, it's like even Karen is taking a play out of Fisk's books for themselves by taking the AVTF kid. And it's something out of like Reservoir Dogs by the time we get into the next episode, everybody.
It's a little bit, it's really kind of cool. But that does lead us right into episode 3, which as you said, the title is the sword and the scales, the scales and the sword. And we get a lot more information about the Safer Streets Act and what exactly that entails in this episode. We get a lot more the judicial kind of things around it, to where actually I guess it's the next episode where they break into the Kirsten's office, but we hear, we've got the governor talking about it. We've got Fisk talking about it. We've got them doing all these different things for the Safer Streets Act. And then there was one thing I will say that it was a little confusing to me, and I'm trying to figure out the exact timeline of this day, because I think this episode pretty much covers has to cover one day, because it must have been after mid. Okay, this is what I'm going to think. Okay, because it was dark, so it must have been after midnight when the task force attacked Karen and Matt at the bar.
Yes,
and she kidnaps the guy and gets the key card, because he says this key card will get you into all the doors, but they change the code at midnight. So that says whatever time they're sitting at right there has to be after midnight. And it's got to end before midnight of this day. So this whole episode covers, 20 something hours, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Because we see daytime when Kirsten finds out that the trial's been moved up, and apparently the trial only takes one, she goes and meets her client, and the same day Daredevil, they find out they get the trial on TV. They see it. Everything happens in the trial.
And then they have to go and infiltrate and do everything. It's almost an episode of 24 with Kiefer Sutherland, where they have to actually get everything done.
They packed a lot into this one episode,
and breaking down almost every hour to a certain point.
Because there's a point we also have the governor's dinner is in there, and that happens in the same time frame as all these people are attacking when they're getting into Red Hook. Daredevil's getting into Red Hook.
Yeah.
So it was a little that was a little convenient to me,
Or
story wise.
confusing to other people too, because if they actually gave times, like you know how with 24
like
they would
24
give you the
used to show the ticking
time,
clock.
that would have been
Maybe-
perfect.
I think it would have been a good opportunity, but I don't know if they really wanted to show that. But yeah, I think it would have been an interesting story motif, and I don't know if 24 has copyrighted that thing. I don't know. But it would have been interesting.
Does it too. So by the way,
okay, yeah. So maybe if they were like counting down or something, like if we had a moment where, because Matt punches the guy and says, "Well, if you're lying to me, I'm going to be very unhappy, and I'm going to give you back to your buddies, and you tell them that I kicked your butt and left you out
by the
there.
way, I'm going to hit you so hard. It's like Karen's going to take you out.
I'm going to knock you out." So and that guy's name was Saunders, and we haven't seen him again since. So I don't know if we're going to see that character again. But I just thought it was very. There's a lot of stuff that's packed into this day, and then Kirsten gives her and this is one of the things I will totally agree with. The TV podcast industries guys talked about this. It's a little convenient by the writers that Kirsten is able to give this very detailed memory of walking through that structure.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, I'm sorry. I walked from my bedroom to my toilet and I forget where.
I can't really remember the smells, what I heard.
Yeah,
what the breeze.
Yeah, it just it just seemed a little convenient. I mean, I'll accept it though, because it was a super cool scene. Particularly we get that line where she says, "Well, they had me blindfolded, so I didn't see anything." And Daredevil goes, "Oh, I can work with that." It's kind of that tongue in cheek kind of thing.
Batman kind of mentality of like, I can diagnose this.
Yeah, exactly. Or like in the movie Sneakers, when Robert Redford is able to, describe the car ride when he's in the trunk of the car, and he's describing the smells and the sounds and all those kind of things. It's a cool scene, but it's just a little convenient that it all kind of worked out. So,
there was that whole ordeal that McDuffie has to deal with to get to meet with Duquesne, which is the swordsman, everybody. And it's for her to protect him and be his defense attorney for the trial. And
tribunal.
According to
it's not a trial, it's a tribunal. Because it was three judges. Three
Jacques
judges, no jury. 3 judges, no jury. But
it was pretty cool for the fact, and then we get to see the whole thing. Within that, we got intersecting conversations with Fisk and the governor, and the talk between Fisk and the governor about the Charter 1855, stating only the governor can revoke that authority for Red Hook at that point, because they had all the weapons and everything.
The Freeport Charter. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And she knew something of what Fisk was doing. And even Karen and Matt knew about that, because it segues to flashing to them and they have that conversation. We do get the governor, who is played by the one and only Lily Taylor. And for those of you who don't know who Lily Taylor is, I'm a Gen Xer, same thing with Steve. We grew up with her. She was in Mystic Pizza in 1988. Say Anything, 1989 with John Cusack, The Haunting from 1999, and The Conjuring, if you remember that, from 2013.
Yeah.
So she's a familiar actress. She's just a bit older. It took me like two things. I was like, wait, she looks familiar. It's like, I remember her being, I was like, oh, John Cusack. And I right away remembered.
Yeah. Joe lies. From Say Anything.
Yep.
You know how I can tell when Joe's lying? His mouth is moving. Or something like that. It's been a while since I watched that Say Anything, but I love it's a short part of the episode, but the dinner party at Fisk's house where Vanessa kind of tries to set up Buck and Dr. Glenn,
Oh
setting
yeah.
them together at the
It
table.
reminded me of a movie when they were doing this whole little thing, and it was so cute. It's like a meet cute kind of thing of like, oh,
Yeah.
who are you? Who? Well, Daniel's the jester. Well, who are you? And he goes,
Yeah.
well, I'm the paladin. And
Yeah, I'm the knight. I loved how he had something. He was like the king holding court with the governor and then the queen watching everybody's movements. And then he goes, Daniel, and she says, the court jester. And he goes, at first glance, you would think, but then he also might be, and I wrote this down, he might be the heir unapparent. Because remember in the last episode, in that conversation in the bedroom, Vanessa, there's a point where Vanessa and this Fisk are talking about him not having an heir, not having anyone to pass the torch on to. So I don't know if that's foreshadowing what's going to happen with Daniel. I don't know, but I just thought that heir unapparent was an interesting turn of phrase from Buck there. And when he says, I'm the knight, and she says, well, you got a grand view of yourself. He goes, okay, well then I'm the man at arms. And we know that's kind of what he is because he's been killing people for Fisk and all this. So yeah, I thought that was great.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. It was a really nice meet cute kind of moment too. If you think about it, it'd be funny to see Buck and her get together.
yeah, it would be interesting. It would be interesting. We get the watch coming back. Matt hearing the watch and knowing that the guns are there,
and that's literally counting down to something out of Speed with the using a wristwatch as well.
Yeah, kind of. I can see that. But yeah, and then him having, he has to make the choice. Then he's like, I chose to free the prisoners instead of destroying the guns, and that's going to come back in the next episode as well. A lot of things, like you were talking about, a lot of things from these episodes lead from one episode into
the other.
next.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of cool there that he had to make that choice. And then of course we get that amazing fight scene with him and Swordsman fighting the task force guys that were there.
Tony Dalton was amazing using just pipes or like even what was it? Prison barbs or whatever it was to take out the AVTF.
And I thought he had killed one of them, but then when you get a closer look, it was in his shoulder. Like it went through and through, but it went through his shoulder.
Yeah.
The guy there was a guy laying on the ground there. So, okay, maybe he's not dead. So, which I thought was, again, this is the other thing that's playing out here between Daredevil, Bullseye, Swordsman, that Bullseye is willing to kill people and Daredevil doesn't want him to kill anybody. Like when he meets the priest there in the next episode when he says, oh, I'm not going to kill him. So yeah, I thought, but that fight scene is another amazing fight scene.
It was really cool.
Those spin moves with the camera and seeing Swordsman and Daredevil fighting together was really, really cool.
Yeah, I really did enjoy that. I love I think that's the reason why it starts to ramp up a little bit more, because it gives you that same feel that we got from the Netflix series when we first saw it, the first season. It was very intense, very rugged, but it was Matt on his own at the time in the very beginning. But now I think Disney's catching up with saying, hey, we need to amp this up. And these Disney Plus Marvel shows are not coming out constantly where we're bludgeoned over the head with them and written so fast. Now they're taking the time to take the work into it, which I do appreciate. And that's it's good writing, it's good visuals, good storytelling. So love seeing Angela wearing the pendant and helping them out there at the end of the episode, helping the people escape and slicing the tires of the task force vehicles so they can't follow them. That was all great again. And it was a little, again, it's another one of those it's a little hokey, but it's a cool scene. Why didn't Matt and Karen just go with them in the truck? They have to, I guess, because they didn't want to leave Karen's car there or whatever car they were, that green, whatever Jeep SUV,
or hybrid SUV they were driving. I was just like, why don't you just go with them? Why are you taking the time to run and go get your car? Like it was a little strange. I mean, like I said, maybe they just didn't, maybe they didn't want people to know where they were I don't know. It just because the one woman, Josie, says, "Oh, I have a place we can go," and so then that's when Matt and Karen leave and go get the vehicle. But yeah, it was maybe they didn't want them to see where Daredevil was. I don't know. It just was a little,
which is weird too, because next episode we see Daredevil there in full costume and cowl, talking as they're doing their tributes on videotape of explaining what had happened to them.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Why did they have to go anyway? Like I said, it was just to not leave the vehicle there so that they wouldn't be able to trace it.
And the fact that, it's like, also you talk about Josie was the bar owner where they were staying. That's where they were living at that point. That's when everything happened. She was forewarned too by the local police before the AVTF show.
That detective Amy came and told her, which was a little like, why do we need that? Maybe just so we know that Amy isn't in favor
part
of the
task force.
I guess because maybe she's going to come back later. But that was cool to again. That was cool to see Detective Amy coming back with. And
then we get Fisk has Powell blow the whole Northern Star in the harbor. At that point. Just
blow it up. With sending the crew, like Mr. Charles told him at the beginning in the first episode. Mr. Charles said, "Well, whoever unloads the stuff off that boat is going to have to be killed."
And that's all the Russians that they had hired at that time.
They're just like, "Hey, pay us so we can go home." And they're like, "No, go back to the boat." And the guys just go back to the boat and they end up getting killed, which again is going to lead us into the next episode as well.
I just have one thing for this particular episode. I got one quote. And I've
got two. So go ahead. I'll let you do yours first.
Jacques Duquesne saying at his trial at that point when he's being convicted, he goes, "For the entertainment of the masses, presented in all its ugly glory by those hands that holds the scale."
Yeah.
So
wow. I just got a couple here. When Buck is meeting in Daniel's office, and Daniel is talking to him about what he used to do and stuff, and what he's going to do, how he's going to find out dirt on the governor. And Daniel says, "I just got you to eat street meat." So, which I thought was, I'm watching at the time going, this guy, why did he just take that hot dog and take a bite out of it? Like, I mean, I know there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it was just funny. And then at the very beginning of the episode, Karen says to Matt, "I did a little recon," and Matt stops and goes, "Recon?"
I know, right?
Like, when did you start military speaking? So I thought was really, really cool.
She hung around Frank too much at a certain point.
I love that there's a mistake. If you read the quotes on IMDb, there's a mistake. Someone attributed that line to Sheila Rivera, which is incorrect. It's actually Karen Page. That Daredevil says, "Oh, you're beginning to look like Frank." And she says, "Well, you gotta know your enemies because they might be the only people you know," or something like that. I didn't write it down because it was funny that it was attributed to the wrong character. That's all I got for episode 3. So
yeah, same here. I kind of threw out everything that I could think of within that, and like we said, that 2 goes right into 3 goes right into 4. And it's attributed to what Derek and John were saying when they posted it on Facebook, like at least about a month ago, saying how they had screeners and stuff for TV podcast industries, but they stated how that it ramps up and it just goes and it flows and we get the same feel. I'm starting to feel that now. So I'm really glad that this is where we're at with this. We are going to be getting more stuff later on after we do cover Daredevil, because The Boys has released.
The Boys has started. I watched the first episode. I don't know if I finished the first episode. So
me neither. But we will be covering that, everybody. We will probably do 2 episodes at a time at that point. So that way
it depends on when we start up and when it finishes and how it's looking at that point. But on to episode 4, Gloves Off. And again, I I think I just loved both times watching this episode. I love the beginning.
Same here.
I used to be, I'm not as much as I was, but I used to be a huge Billy Joel fan. Like I had all from the early 90s when I started buying CDs. I had all of his I had a bunch of his stuff on CD, and New York State of Mind is one of my favorite songs, which is it's just a cool, it's got such a long piano intro. In fact, I'd totally forgotten about it. And until I'm watching this episode, I go, that's New York State of Mind. Is this an instrumental version of New York State of Mind? And then I realized, no, the first piano intro is just so long.
It is. It's the original album version. That's why.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. I really loved it. It reminded me a lot. If you ever saw the movie One Good Cop, stars Michael Keaton as a cop in New York. It's got that beginning has a very similar vibe with us seeing Bullseye wake up, do his little calisthenics, do his stretching, make his breakfast and everything, and doing his fingers.
His hands.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. And then we see him go to the diner, and I have to ask a question.
Yeah,
you know more about New York than I do. Do diners in New York actually have live lobsters? Like some do. Okay, because in the second time watching it, I'm like going. The first time I watched it, I was like, are those live lobsters in that tank? This is like a dive diner, like a burger joint. It's got lobsters in a tank.
Nope, you'd be surprised.
Well, and then later the guy that Bullseye takes the sauce from that he puts on the door is eating lobster.
Yeah,
and so I'm like, okay, I guess they have live lobster. So I definitely wanted to ask you because you're more familiar with New York. I just thought that was a strange. Maybe because I live in a landlocked state, so it's not normal for us to see like fresh seafood in a tank.
It's New York City. It's just how it is. It's open 24/7. If you go to a diner in the middle of the night, you could have breakfast at 2 a.m. or you could have lasagna, or you could actually go.
Yeah.
Now in Staten Island, it's a little bit different. Certain places would have it. But in Manhattan, that's a little bit different because you're talking the major part of the city. So you would have certain diners down in the middle of the city, downtown, whether it be the west side or east side, and they would have that. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds. I'll take your word for it. And I've never seen anyone in my life open a straw the way he opens that straw.
Same here.
I have never seen someone
get it right.
tear it. I have never seen someone tear a straw from the middle and take this. I'm like, how did he do that? Like, I'm the guy pounding it on the table.
Exactly.
Why is the paper stronger than the straw? And it's
exactly
just like,
right.
So I just thought that was funny. And then of course we get another brutal fight scene between him.
Oh my God. Very creative too.
Yeah, he's throwing forks around. He's throwing spoons and
thermometer.
Yeah, the thermometer. He threw. Like I said, he throws the
lobster claw.
Tail, the lobster claw. It's just wild.
And then the coin.
And then he leaves the coin there. And I'm not sure if that was on purpose. Because
I think it
earlier in the episode,
he's always twirling that coin.
Well, and he had another one. So I think he has several of them from like every time he went to that church or does something. I'm assuming that's a Catholic thing. Those little coins.
I think because it's something specific to that church, probably.
Yeah. See, I thought that was all super cool. And then again, I think this is interesting too. He calls and says that he saw Frank Castle. That's how he wants to lure them to it. But then the task force guy recognizes him as Bullseye. So he draws the bullseye on the doors as he's leaving, just to make sure. I don't want anybody else to get credit for this. I want to make sure that I get credit for what just happened here. And
exactly.
That was really
that's Ben Poindexter doing what he normally does. And Also, it was a good mention for Frank Castle at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, like, okay, he's still in the mix. He's still part
Yeah.
of this universe.
Yeah, I think he's been mentioned just about every episode. Because in the last episode, in episode 3, is either 2 or 3, I can't remember. Karen says something to Matt about, well, do you think Fisk has killed? Oh, when he's talking to her about that, she's like Frank, and she says, well, do you think Kingpin has killed him? And Matt's like, no, there's no way. And how can you be so sure? Because he would have paraded his body out
and sing it to the rooftops. Yeah.
And everybody. So yeah, I thought that was again, we're getting mentions of Frank Castle. That was when I went on my deep dive of trying to see if there's any, unless it's a secret that they're keeping under the wraps. It does not look like we're going to get Punisher in this season, but I'm not saying that for sure. I'm just saying that my investigation, I didn't find anything.
Generally, with all the talk and everything, usually it's a whole bunch of hype, and then we'll get it at the very tail end.
Yeah.
Because what did we get last season? The first season of Daredevil Born Again. He literally shows up towards the end with that big battle and fight, if we remember.
You're right. Yeah. He was pretty prominent in the Netflix series because it was leading into his Netflix series. And then in this one, we didn't get him till the end of season 1. So yeah, you're right. Okay. I think it was cool. We get Matthew Lillard again coming back as Mr. Charles, and he's spouting off his facts about wombats and their excrement. I did not look that up to see if that was true. I don't know if it's true or not that wombats poop out.
He has a hold on Fisk and everything, and he definitely has ties with the government. Yeah. And he
Absolutely.
wants to, and Fisk is afraid of him. If you think about it.
I don't know if it's fear or if it's just that he doesn't. I don't think it's fear that Fisk feels toward him. I just think it's that he doesn't like to have to deal with him. I think that's what it is. Because, Buck kills those 2 guys that Mr. Charles had with him very easily. And then as he's walking out, Kingpin says, don't meet me like this again. Next time you call ahead. So he's definitely, he's not going to, I don't think he's willing to kill Mr. Charles. Like I was talking about in the first episode. I think he realizes he can't kill him, because he does have some sort of tie. Cause I think the governor says your agency man was here or something like that. I'm assuming she's talking about Mr. Charles. Mm-hmm. And again, that's a reference to the CIA usually in these kind of shows. So, yeah, it was just great to see him, and I just loved the way the way Matthew Lillard is delivering some of these lines, about why are these guns here? I have an existential question, why are these guns here and not on their way to whatever country it was that he named?
Yeah, because that was their deal. Yeah,
right. And so but then this just leaves him there, and I'm just like, well, okay, I guess that's all we get from Mr. Charles this episode.
Exactly. It's like Matthew Lillard's only there for, spice.
Yeah. Just bring him in a couple of times every few episodes to remind us that he's around.
And I love my Matthew Lillard appearances. Trust me, everybody. I just love that guy. We get the talks about the boxing match that's going on, and of all places that it's being held is in Matt's father's old gym.
Yeah,
and Hell's Kitchen.
Gym. Yeah, it's that reminder that Kingpin and Daredevil come from the same place. They both came from Hell's Kitchen originally, so those ties are still back there, no matter where they're at now. So I thought, that was interesting. We're getting a lot of flashbacks to either the Netflix series or maybe it was in this season. In season 1 of this show. I can't remember if we got young Matt
and his dad.
Yeah, and we're getting visions of young Matt when he goes to the church. He's reminded of when he was at the church. He tells the priest that. We learned that Poindexter did not kill the priest, which was I wasn't sure, honestly, because we didn't see that priest again until now. So it was good to see that Poindexter didn't have it in him to kill a priest just out of spite. But and he gets the information to find Bullseye, to where Bullseye is staying, is living, and we have another fight. I didn't notice it in the first time I watched it, but did you see them do the double punch
Yes.
where they punched each other at the same time. I thought
because
that
that's
was,
how they both are very calculated.
yeah,
And it shows you how Matt is very calculated as well as Poindexter.
Well,
And
he does even
they're a match.
even he when he leaves the church, he flips that coin and it lands in the in that bowl with all those other coins, and we're like, so we're seeing that their powers are very similar. I think probably Bullseye probably has a better handle on like firearm, and he's able to bounce. He does more of bouncing things off
trick shots and
more trick kind of things. We see Matt do a little bit of that with his truncheons, where he can bounce them off walls and stuff, but not to the elaborateness that Bullseye does. So, but they're very similarly matched. And I think that's just that's a throwback to the comic and to the Netflix series. Again, they're just very evenly matched as characters. So.
Awesome. We get a little encounter. We brushed over it a little bit. The whole meeting at Karen and Matt's place, but Matt is still dressed up as Daredevil in the cowl and the costume,
right? Because he doesn't want anybody to know who he really is.
And
even the people
Angela's there too, and her aunt is there. Hector's wife is there giving a testimony.
I think he also did that because remember they've pulled Kirsten in now, but Kirsten doesn't know that Daredevil is Matt. Which is kind of because I can't tell a difference in his voice. I can't tell him doing like Christian Bale would do a different voice when he was Batman and when he was not Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne. But I don't hear that in Charlie Cox's portrayal. I don't hear a different. Maybe it's slightly different. Maybe it's just different enough that Kirsten hasn't figured it out. But I think that's so we get Kirsten meeting the first mate of the Northern Star and and finding out. Unfortunately, we also get Buck killing the two U.S. Marshals and the first mate of the Northern Star towards the end of the episode, because that's the guy. Pal comes up on the corner of the ring and tells Fisk that Christoffy is taken care of. Yeah. And so that's when he sends Buck off to do that deed, and Buck doesn't want to go, but he's like, no, I need somebody I trust to go do this kind of thing. Which I thought, again, it's just in other words, he has a lot of faith, and I forgot that Buck was in the first season as well.
It's confusing because there was so much going on in the first season of Born Again.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to get back to basics, everybody, with a Kington. Because from the Netflix show all the way back to this again now.
Yeah. So he's got a lot. He's got a lot invested in Buck, to where I could almost see Buck taking over the reins if something happened to Kingpin, or even if Daniel takes over Kingpin, he might keep Buck on as that man at arms, that second in command. And maybe that's the role that Buck wants to fill. Is he doesn't want to be the guy who's in charge. He just wants to be next to the guy who's in charge.
He wants to be the what would you call it? The
lieutenant. The lieutenant's not the right. Like the man at arms, the knight. But he wants to be in the know as well.
That is true.
So like Daniel doesn't need to be in the know of all these things for him to admire Fisk and want to work for Fisk. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how they progress through this season. And I didn't know this until TV Podcast Industries had started talking about it, that originally the first season was supposed to be 16 episodes. And so according to, again, I don't know where they got this from. It was an interview or what, but they said it was supposed to be a 16 episode season that then got split into 2 seasons. That's why we were able to get the second season out so quickly after the first one.
Interesting.
To whereas I don't know the third season, if we're going to get how much time we're going to have to wait.
Well, they are currently filming as far as I know. That's why I mentioned earlier about Kristen Ritter and her jacket and everything. There have been rumors of like Mike Coulter being on set and Defenders people and stuff like that. But you know,
they're shooting it. They're shooting it. So we'll see how quickly they can turn it around. So,
Mhm. And
the only
they
thing,
could possibly be doing another Dexter show. Who knows?
I think so. I'm pretty sure it got. I think they're writing it because I don't think it was written because they didn't get the green light for a second season until
Yeah.
a few months back. Anyway, that's another podcast.
Yeah.
The only thing I've got left for episode 4 is
Mm-hmm.
the total surprise that, and I'm assuming she's going to be dead in the next episode, but maybe not. I mean, people.
Well,
that's-
Poindexter's showing up at the boxing ring.
Right. And then Vanessa taking that glass shard
And
to the
using the
head.
gun, everybody.
Yeah, she used the gun that she was able to shoot Poindexter because he was concentrating on Kingpin. She was able to shoot him, and that threw his aim off. So Kingpin was able to block the glass statuette, and then of course one of the pieces flies into Vanessa's head. And like I said, it's possible she could survive. That's a pretty traumatic brain injury, even if she does survive. So we'll have to see what the next episode brings for us.
We mentioned it before. There's a lot of foreshadowing. Last episode, there was something that I didn't bring up. Remember when Vanessa had a dream and she woke up out of the dream? She had the gun and everything else. As we're seeing both her and Wilson Fisk in bed, the flower is a bluish tint.
Yeah, in the dream it's blue, and when she wakes up, it's red.
Exactly.
So
it shows something that is foreshadowing to the point of something's going to happen to Vanessa. We find out at the end she does get hurt. Whether she's dead or not is another story. But she changes Fisk's role in the boxing ring too, to the point where she walks in, distracts him to the point where he just takes that guy out with one knockout punch.
Yeah, the first thing is though, when she distracts him, he gets hit. He gets, because remember at the beginning of when he's getting his hands taped up, the guy offers him a mouthpiece, a mouth guard, and he says, "Oh no, I don't need it." He's never going to lay a glove
on me. Yep.
Right. So that's why it was so significant when the guy was able to land a punch that then Kingpin just went off. And you can see it was interesting watching it for the second time. I picked up more on the crowd. At first, the crowd seems almost horrified at what he's doing. But then when the fight ends, they're like all like cheering and everybody is all happy again. And I'm like going, this guy's laying on the mat, like he might be dead. I mean, I'm sure he's probably alive. They were taking him off. He had his hands over his chest as they were taking him off the thing, so he might be alive. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting reaction by the crowd to go, and then suddenly, like you said, Poindexter shows up, and that changes the whole mood of everything.
I just love how Fisk used the title belt to block the whole statue and everything else, and coming after him from Bullseye. It was a really interesting moment with everything, but we do get Poindexter in his apartment with Matt, because Matt tracks him down before that whole situation.
Yeah.
And he enters, and with the CD from the Discman was pretty cool. Like that whole scene where he uses that and he just kind of bounces it off to get to Matt.
And then Matt catches it. And so that whole, and again, that's where we get this idea of him. Poindexter Bullseye is trying something for redemption. He says, I've got to do one good deed.
He wants to, and Matt knows it. He wants to kill Fisk. He goes, and when he mentions about Foggy, because she goes, she made me kill that guy. And he goes, I don't talk about my friend ever again.
Don't talk about him.
Matt is taking it personally to the point where he could literally go off on Poindexter and just kill him in a heartbeat.
I don't know. That's the whole thing, is he says he doesn't want to kill Poindexter, because remember that's at the beginning. So he throws him off the building at the beginning of season 1.
Correct.
When he kills Foggy, he throws him off the building, and Matt stops being Daredevil. I started rewatching. I didn't finish it, but I started rewatching Daredevil Born Again season 1 a couple of weeks ago, and Matt, he stops being Daredevil for a while because
he does.
Because of what he did. So I know he definitely doesn't. I don't think he does not want to kill Bullseye at this point. And he doesn't want Bullseye to kill Fisk, because remember, or Fisk to kill Bullseye, because Fisk pulls that gun and tries to shoot Bullseye, and that's when Daredevil shows up at the boxing match and knocks the gun out of his hand.
Yeah.
So that's where, and then Daredevil takes Bullseye out of the equation by, throwing him through that window, and they land outside, and then they both escape. But yes, I don't think Daredevil wants to kill Bullseye, and he doesn't want this to kill Bullseye. He doesn't want anybody.
Matt doesn't want to do that. Yeah.
He wants to go back to the no killing thing, So,
which is part of the reference to how Karen was talking about Frank, and he goes, "I don't want to be like Frank."
Right.
And even Karen has said that Frank has not been killing.
Well, no, she wants Frank. No, that's what she says. Is she says, "Why don't we let Frank do what he does?" That's what she said to him in that episode. She said, "No, let's let Frank." And that's when Matt says, "No, we can't. We don't want to kill Bullseye." And so we don't know. And you might be right. Frank may not be killing. Frank's not doing anything right now, is what they say. He's
Frank,
not doing anything.
We won't know about Frank until the end of the season, or for the little spotlight movie that we get.
Yeah. So as I'm saying is we don't know what Frank's doing now. We just know that he's not doing anything. Apparently. So you're right. He's not killing people at the moment, as far as we know. So I just had a couple of quotes.
Good.
That at the beginning, after Bulls, when he's walking out of the diner, he says that was a great milkshake. I just thought that
banana
was
milkshake too.
And then when the task force break into Kirsten's office and they're looking for the swordsman, she says, "Well, maybe he's hiding under a stack of files or behind that glass wall over there." Like she's like, "Do you see him here? He's obviously not here anywhere." So that's where we get more about this Safer Streets initiative, where the cop says, we don't need a warrant. We don't even need to knock. We can just declare it's a very, totalitarian kind of thing, to where they're like, we can do whatever we want on just by calling it Safer Streets. So
awesome. That's all you had?
That's all I have.
All right, cool. I don't have any quotes or anything. The only thing I have in notes are literally referencing towards the actors and everything. I got some interesting information that I watched, that you see things online. Apparently Michael Gandolfini has been watched over by John Hamm over the years, ever since his father's death, and has been helping him out with acting. So that could be attributed to how Michael Gandolfini is playing Daniel within this, because he's got a good presence, and every time I see him on screen now, I'm feeling a lot better about him as the character. Yeah, and he's presenting it very well. I'm looking forward to seeing him in more work other than just this. And please don't stereotype him as a typical guinea from Staten Island. That it's like,
we'll have to see. Hopefully, I mean, this is the first thing I've seen him in, so we'll have to see where he goes from here. Yeah.
But other than that, that's about it. I think we kind of talked a lot about these episodes pretty quickly within an hour's time.
An hour.
So,
a little over an hour.
Right now, we're at the end of the podcast. We completed our coverage of these 3 particular episodes. We told you we'll be back within another week and a half, and we'll be covering episodes 5 and 6. So we'll let you know when to do that. But for now, podcast recommendations. Steve, do you have anything you want to recommend?
Yeah, I would jump out there and just say the TV podcast industry's coverage. They're covering a lot of stuff right now. They're covering Invincible, the new season of Invincible. They're covering The Boys. They're covering this Daredevil Born Again. So check out TV podcast industries and Podcastica, all the stuff that they're doing. Podcastica took a little bit of a break. Jason, I guess, did a little bit of vacation, but the biggest thing I would say is what I'm listening to right now is the TV podcast industry's guys talking about this show, and
awesome.
And the companion podcast for the official podcast is pretty good.
Yeah. Cause every show nowadays seems to have a companion podcast for it, whether it be Disney, Paramount, or whatever. I would like to recommend our friend Ben Beck with his podcast, the Wilhelm podcast. So check that out. We're at that moment where can listeners hear us, Steve?
Well, I can be heard right here, obviously, on Panels to Pixels every week or every couple of weeks, depending on how our schedule is working out. And then I send I can guest host on a lot of things. I'll make listeners aware of that when those are coming up. But I also send voicemails to various podcasts that our friends do as well.
Awesome. Well, I can be heard here as always on Panels to Pixels podcast. I can be heard on Adrenaline Cinema podcast, which we just released. Rise of Planet of the Apes. Jerry and I had covered that recently. We're going to be doing a little bit more there on that particular podcast as well. You can hear me on the Kaiju Cast podcast with my friend Dimitri as we cover Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2, which is a collaborative podcast with Podcastica. So check that out. Just go to our Facebook group and check those out. As well as the Pyrocore Entertainment podcast, as always, if and when we do something else. But for listeners, for you to send any sort of feedback, we did put something out recently, a while back, for episodes 2 and 3. 4 just kind of sprung up on us as we did this sporadically, but you had more than enough time. But for you to get your feedback to us, Steve, how could they get back to us?
There are several ways, as Mark mentioned. You can contact us through our Facebook group, which is facebook.com/panels2pixels. You can email us at panels2pixels1@gmail.com. That's panels2pixels, the TO spelled out right there in the middle, and then the number 1 at gmail.com. We also have a YouTube page, which is Panels to Pixels Podcast. When you click on that, click the bell to get notified when those YouTube things come out. We can also get feedback there.
And as always, if you want and do give us some love and go to pyrocoreentertainment.com, check out all the other podcasts on the network, including What's On Tonight, Dinner for Her, Adrenaline Cinema, all the other stuff that we have done before, and the previous podcast from Fantasy Picks Movie Edition with the boys, with Frank Gonzalez and Adam Gonzalez and Frank Rodriguez and Rob Moda and myself, as well as everything else that we have there. We'll be putting up some sort of links to eventually for Kaiju Cast podcast, so keep that in mind. For us now, next episode of the podcast, we're going to be covering Daredevil Born Again Season 2 episodes 5 and 6. When we come back, we will notify you within social media to let us know. But other than that, that's it. That's our podcast. And I just want to thank everyone for listening. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
Same podcast, different panel, different pixel. And this was Panels to Pixels podcast. And we'll see you on the next panel. We'll talk to you guys later.
Good night.
Bye-bye.